All right, well, for those of you who are just waking up and don't know where you are, it's January
Ba
13th, 2013, Welshy, and you're watching Mods on Air.
2 FPS, 3 RPGs, and 5 sim-type games. Yeah. I think you'd be able to come up with one here.
I'm actually pulling this one hard.
Ask all the people that need hacks to play Call of Duty. I can hear you groaning inwardly every time Sin's mentioned. You're just cringing.
Hey, you're listening to episode 363 of Mods on Air, bringing you the week in gaming news as modders, developers, and gamers ourselves. I am foyleman, and also on the show today we have with us Welshy. Hello, Welshy.
Hello.
Hello. And we also have with us Ham. Hello, Ham.
Hello.
Breesy has joined us today. Hello, Breesy.
Hello.
And we have Stryder. Hey, Stryder.
Hello, everybody.
So before we actually begin the show, let me remind you all that this is a live show. We're recording it right now. You can join us on Sundays if you want when we normally do this thing. And for those, we're going to be posting links into the chat window in case you care. The other links that are posted by people who are not us, click on them. Go
probably
ahead.
Probably are. They're probably trolls trying to get your... Come to our site, you'll see naked girls. Just ask Breesy, there's never naked girls there.
And watch out, explicit language and adult themes. Okay.
Yeah, we do that every now and then.
We do that.
It's a fucking lie. Fucking lie.
Okay, we have a lot to talk about today. And as Stryder pointed out, it's all garbage. No, it's not. It's all sorts of topics about hardware, because CES was this week over in Las Vegas, and there's all kinds of stuff to talk about. Lots and lots of stuff. For example, there was some news the week right before CES that led up to the Xbox, the next generation Xbox that's supposed to be coming along. There's some rumors as far as what is happening with that. They say it is in production. It's going to be a nice Windows 8 mediocre machine, just like Xbox always is. And we should expect to actually see it this E3, or at least news about it, which is in June, early June.
Yeah, so it's what we got a few months. My expectations are not that great of a leap graphically, and it's going to be all sort of gimmicky. Like they're going to be like, we finally caught up with the Wii as far as the gimmick bandwagon goes.
Really?
That's
How much
what I'm
more
expecting.
gimmick can they add to it, other than
The second Kinect.
The Kinect.
The second Kinect, so you can see the front and back of you. So you get like Kinect 3D.
I don't know. It's like I've got this feeling, just like sort of almost like last E3, where it's going to be less about the Xbox and more about the things that surround the Xbox. So it's like, hey, check out this gaming console that does everything except play the games you want.
And let's not talk about the hardware. Let's just talk about the features, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I've got the feeling, because that's sort of the way I see things going. I'd love to be pleasantly surprised.
I think the biggest leap that Microsoft has done here is they've removed the red ring of power, so you can never get the red ring of death, because they just took it right off. They got rid of that feature.
Yeah. Now it just sends smoke signals.
Yeah, if we get rid of that ring, there will be no more red rings of death. We promise.
No, it's just a flashing LED.
There's the yellow and blue flame.
Yeah. See that blue X, when that starts burning, or when that blue X, here's your troubleshooting. If there's smoke coming out of the blue X, then your Xbox is on fire. If the blue X is not blue, it has either no power, you may want to check and see if it's plugged in, or that you've paid your power bill, or it's a brick. And you can add that to the stack of bricks that you're using to make your new GameStop in your neighborhood.
Yes.
Those are Xboxes.
It's about right, man. That's what they should. Yep.
I wonder if they're gonna exploit or do anything with the on live type service, where all of a sudden you can stream games or demos. Since that seemed to have reached a peak and then just sort of fizzled out, and nobody really said anything about it. But Sony picked it up though, and there's rumors that they're gonna add that to The
Well,
next
Sony picked up
PlayStation.
the features, but they didn't. They're not the ones that picked up on live, right? Are they?
No,
I
no,
keep
no. They
forgetting.
picked up an on-live competitor,
Geico
Gaikai.
or Gaikai, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
And then there's also an announcement. I know I'm skipping around. From Nvidia, who says that they're out there trying to put something out. That happened at CES this week, where they want to do some sort of streaming media, and they're trying to do the competition with OnLive, which, by the way, is gone. It's sold out and split up and divided amongst everyone.
the scam was successful after all. Somebody got paid.
I don't know how that's going to really succeed. We don't have an interest in it.
I've got a little bit of feedback that I found out about, and it ties into the streaming games, and it goes back to our discussions about Netflix and how lacking Netflix is in places that are not the United States. Like I thought ours was bad, and Welshy says that ours in Canada is way better than what he had in the UK. So what it is and this ties into the streaming games too, and why they will fail in markets like Canada and fail in markets like UK is there is bandwidth limitations, huge bandwidth limitations in our countries. And what happens is we cannot. If I rent 7 movies, I'll technically hit my bandwidth cap
For the month?
Right.
For the month.
Wow.
So
wow.
so without the catalog being sucky compared to what there is in the States, now all like what they've done is they've introduced this super HD. So it's just a little bit more crisp than regular HD. But the problem is that goes to about that bumps a movie to about 2.5 gigs per half hour. And so I can watch one movie and I've hit my bandwidth cap. And it's like that everywhere. And if you start streaming games and streaming game service, you're increasing that packet size from just data about where you're at and where everybody else is at, which is a probably 2 or 3 packets. You end up with a whole bunch of fucking data having to be transferred because it's not just your position. You're actually having to transmit that whole game signal to your console. So. Hey.
So the question
the problem is,
unfortunately, go ahead.
So the other problem is particularly in the UK, is we don't have 150 meg download speeds. So downloading a 3.6 gig movie takes you all day, and probably most of the next day.
Well, the question is, can a service like this survive without global adoption? And I guess the answer is no.
Sure.
It can't survive. It can start, and then it'll fail, like on live.
It's not that the consumer doesn't want it. It's just that the limitations and the collars that are placed around all the consumers in different areas. I mean, I'm not professing that down in the States you guys get screaming huge bargains and deals on your I don't know what the word is there, your telecommunications, because you guys seem to get fisted quite regularly and almost line up for it, but
shaft.
It's there's no globalization of the packages that are available or the restrictions on packages that are available. I mean, there's a huge call in our government right now to actually do something about the CRTC and what's going on with our cell phone packages and our internet packages, because they're very monopolistic, and there's no advantage from going one customer or one vendor to another, because they're all basically the same package. No one is offering more. There's no competition. There's no reason to excel. So they're talking now about government regulation just to give some variety. Say, you know what, you cannot say this is all you're going to do. Especially, I brought this up a couple weeks ago. Cell phones, we used to have a 1-year contract, then it went to 2-year contracts. Now you can't get a cell phone without a 3-year contract. Even a basic cell phone.
Yeah, that's horrible.
It's
gets
ridiculous.
worse and worse for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
how is it? I don't know.
I'm going to call it then. that if this service does come to fruition on the next consoles, it's going to say only in the U.S.
Mhm.
That's going to be the deal. And then people are going to spin it wrong, like next Xbox to only be sold in the U.S.
That's going to have to be a completely different packaging, different everything, because you even hint towards it in like the UK or something like that, and you're in big trouble, right, Welshy? Because you're advertising something that doesn't work.
Yeah, that's against the law. You can't. You have to, whatever you put on, say, a box or it's against the Trade Description Act. You have to do what it has to do. What it says on the box. If you put things like, the PlayStation was the example with the Linux. They took that away. That's now against the Trade Description Act because you sold me something that it now doesn't do.
Well, I guess it should be said this is all rumor and speculation, but it's very much has a very likely possibility of happening. I think equally with other rumors.
Well, yeah, I was just talking about Nvidia because we went off from online. Really,
Yes,
this is
yes.
also rumor. This is also rumor that it's going to end up on all the consoles too whenever they come out with the next gen, and that's why it's also pertinent to this particular topic.
Yeah.
That's just one of the features that they're probably going to be talking about when it comes to E3 this year, if they actually do discuss the new Xbox, whatever the hell they decide to call it, 720 or bend over. The other but Microsoft may also be talking a little bit about the what they're saying it's called. What is this called? The IllumiRoom concept. Now, this is going to be an interesting concept. I would have had more video, but apparently my video downloader is downloading Flash videos instead of things I can actually play. This is going to be something that's going to be tied into your Xbox and your Kinect. Now, think of a Kinect instead of taking video through a camera. It's showing video through a camera.
Projecting
sort of like a projector. Right. Now, maybe you've seen some of these TVs where it has backlit so that the color that shows up on the wall behind the TV actually is supposed to be similar to that of the television itself to help immerse you into what's going on. Well, this is going to be more than that. It's not just going to be colors. They're even suggesting, which I think is far-fetched, really far-fetched, is that they can project the rest of the level around the TV, maybe not in high def, well, definitely not in high definition, but the idea is that it'll add to the environment. So when you're running around in a first-person shooter or whatever kind of game, you can see the rest of the level in your room in lesser quality, but still it adds to the whole game. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I mean, it turns into a disco.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking.
I don't know when I hear that, because this is not the first time I've heard this idea or seen this concept, and to me this is just me, but it feels as if like this should have gone as far as being somewhat like a discussion in a bar, and somebody's like, yeah, that'd be cool, but not really.
This is Microsoft. That's how Windows 8 came about. It was a discussion in a bar.
Yeah. Well,
And some cocktail napkin actually got handed in instead of the guy's report because he was fucking drunk and hungover, and he had to roll with it or he would have lost his job.
I think this is gonna. I really think that something like this is going to happen. It's not necessarily going to happen with Xbox, and the reason for it is because every year I go to E3 or PAX or whatever it is, and there's somebody there with some sort of curved screen to fully immerse you inside of the game. It's never a great quality, but that's just what this is. It's the idea of turning more of your environment into the game, regardless of quality.
The gaming egg from 1988.
Yeah, it's a giant little box you get into, right?
How's that egg-shaped gig for Christmas like 3 or 4 years ago?
The game chairs and
yeah.
I'd like if there was like an omnidirectional breeze I can get. Like if I'm outside, I feel like it's like in the game. It feels like it's wind's blowing on me.
And
That'd
if
be
you're
cool.
outside, there's air conditioning kicks in. If you're
Little sprinkler
if you're
system
swimming,
to get wet.
yeah, swimming, buckets of water dump on you.
Yeah.
Just like being outside in real life.
Yeah. But the graphics are better.
Just take it to extreme. Just real time damage. That's what you need, Ham.
Yeah. That's that. You set up paintballs all around your.
Yeah.
Screw that. Just set up actual assault rifles and guess what natural selection going on.
Yeah.
That'll certainly
Torture
change
box.
the opinions of some people playing Call of Duty.
Pain simulator suit. These needles will randomly stick into you, showing you where you've been shot. Bleeding may occur.
Practically, they have
Death
done that,
unlikely.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm not going to spend a couple grand on a suit that I can feel little things going on now.
When you die
See,
in
that
the
hurts
game,
me.
you die in real life. That, my friends, is natural selection being brought back.
That's going to be the next feature in the next Call of Duty game.
But now the more exciting idea, rather than all these consoles being upgraded to the next gen and showing things on the wall or poking you in the side, is the idea of what Valve could be doing is creating their own, well, not could be, they are apparently working on their own console. I'm going to use quotations there because it's just like the OUYA or something like that. It is a small form factor PC. Actually, it's more than one PC. They're working from possibly two different models, one being a lower end model, one being a higher end model. That's going to cost you. I am talking about, this is going to be a living room PC is what it is. It is a real computer. And you're going to have this small form factor that's going to be able to stream games specifically through Steam. Or I don't know if it's going to be streaming. Streaming is probably the bad word to use. I think it's going to actually be playing on the device. And there's going to be another model that's available. Now, this smaller model that I'm picturing here is going to be about $500. That's a lot. That's a lot considering what the other consoles are going for. But if you want the high-end one, which if you're watching this show, you're probably a PC user and you like your gaming PC and you want something special, it's going to be $1,000. Now, it does not mean that Valve is not going to allow you to create your own box, because what's interesting about this is it's very modular. You could probably go out and replace the parts that are in it. It is a PC. And what I heard in one of these interviews is one of the guys talking about how you can take this box and when a new edition comes out, you can send it back to them, get credit for a new one, and what they're going to do is turn around and sell it as a refurb old unit.
I like the idea that they're trying to, like, I hesitate to use it, but dumb it down a little bit, because it'll bring in console players will be like, oh, now I got a PC, but then on the other side, it's like, that's $1,000. I can build probably a better PC for half that price.
Yeah, and I'm not sure. Do you have a picture of this little box? Because when you see it sort of in scale, it can fit in someone's hand. This little thing, for people who haven't necessarily seen some other photos of it, and this company XI3, XI3, I think they're called. They had if I'm not mistaken, a failed Kickstarter campaign, but they still sort of met up with Valve to maybe discuss some prototypes, and it's got some sort of weird modular sort of system going on there where you can sort of slide components in and out.
Like this picture showing, he's holding the graphics card in one hand. On the other side is the audio and USB ports, and in the middle is the processor.
So my question for this is why would I want to use a piece of hardware? Like, I'm guessing this is probably an OS-less PC. If it is a PC, it's got no OS. Or it'll have
Linux,
like a Steam OS or some sort of just very basic, very unintrusive interface. But why would I want to, as an avid PC user, take all those components that I know are going to generate a ton of heat and jam them into the smallest space as possible? Or I can build myself a gaming PC and set it on the floor beside my TV and accomplish the exact same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think that's what's that thing where they say you can stream it into your living room? What is Valve calling that? Big picture mode? Is that right?
Yeah.
I think that's what this is. This is just the big picture mode, except it's now under the TV.
Yeah, that'll be their operating system for it. It'll just be the big picture mode. Because because you can run that on your PC right now. So if you like open it up, it actually loads an application. It runs. It's like launching a game almost.
Yeah.
So you put that into the box and you're good to go.
So
I'm
Stryder,
assuming
you
this
can do
uses
what
a
you want.
controller, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to be useless if you're playing PC games anyway.
Well, you can still use the mouse and keyboard. It still works with the mouse and keyboard, but it's just like, I'd rather just run a cable and connect my PC to my TV.
Yeah.
I mean,
and seriously, it is one cable to do that.
Yeah.
It's one HDMI cable, and boom.
And said, I've got a little box that I take to QuakeCon these last, 2 or 3 years, and I've pretty much stripped everything out the box. There's a solid-state drive in there, a graphics card, and I think that's probably about it. And a I don't know, power supply. And the thing is very light. It can sit next to the TV, and I can play games that way. And it's pretty seamless, pretty light. Does not make any noise, and I think that might be sort of the gaming man's Xbox, or not Xbox, Steambox. If the price is not right on these.
Well, would you rather have one of these or a gaming laptop? Because they're both kind of portable and they both have HDMI out.
I'd stick with the gaming laptop.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
In fact, that's what I do.
Laptop. Yeah. I'm not going to go out and buy one of these just for the... Oh, I can put it next to my TV. I can put my laptop next to my TV.
I don't. You guys are making some great points, and yet somehow I would still want to have like not a laptop. I don't know.
I can see the thing of like if you're a big PS3 or Xbox player, but you want to get into PC gaming, but you don't really know exactly what you're doing. You don't need to. Yeah. You could get one of these, and you've got yourself a fairly decent PC.
And then we've got to deal with them whining.
And it's not Dell. Yeah, exactly. It's not Dell.
Dell still exists, right?
Yeah, I think so. Okay. The thing is, they're going to come across, they're going to probably have their controllers, and then they're just going to whine all the time because they're not using a mouse and keyboard, and they're going to be too slow.
Well, then there's the other thing of a lot. Well, yeah, and there's quite a few PC games that don't support controllers.
And that.
Yeah.
Well, do not expect this to be in stores this year. It's going to be a while.
Yeah, so I'm thinking.
Yeah, it's being developed on Valve time.
Yeah.
Seriously.
So, 50 years, you'll have it. I'm hoping that there'll be some more news later on this year. Just we can sort of monitor development instead of this sort of pulling episode 3. You just hear about it and that's it. And I hear about it again. Hopefully, it doesn't happen like that.
Okay. Jumping ahead, let's see. Oh, that's still more on Steambox. There's a lot of articles out there on Steambox. That was the biggest thing. Google TV is also... That's not supposed to be there. Google TV is also doing their thing. Let's see. I'll find the picture soon. There it is. Google TV is supposed to be doing their thing still, rolling out some sort of combination console and TV kind of gaming kind of system. And really, all this is just an Android box that's streaming TV, streaming YouTube, and and playing Android games. It's your OUYA. So whenever you start seeing this news about how wonderful, how this new Google TV thing is coming out, that's what you're getting. You're just getting this little Android phone on your table.
It seems like this is just not going to end. All these little tiny Android boxes meant to sit next to your TV, on top of your TV, under your TV, inside your TV.
That's the problem with Android, is it's fragmented itself so much, and it's everybody's developing for different things all on the Android thing, and unfortunately, it is so fragmented. Nothing. You can buy something that works on one Android device. It doesn't work on another Android device. It doesn't work on that Android device. It might work on that one, but we don't know because we never tested it there. Android, in theory, was a good platform, I guess, to develop with or for or conjunction with, I guess. But there was the lack of control. Whereas Apple controls everything and it has to fit within these certain parameters to be available.
I don't think that's the issue.
No?
I don't think control is the issue. I think because Apple has too many parameters, Google has next to none. The problem is that Google doesn't give you a means of finding everything with ease. You try to traverse the stores, and the difference is that in Apple, you have all these wonderful apps right at your fingertips. You go into the App Store, you instantly find something that's good because it just happens to be at the top of the list, easy to find. You want to find something, it's there. You go to Androids, and you try and find something, and there's too many to choose from within that selection, and you don't know which one's good, which one's not. And that's if you can actually find it. I think the problem is that there's just no real usability when it comes to finding what you want and then using it.
So you're saying the problem's just with the Android store?
That's right. I'm not saying it has anything to do with the Android device.
I don't think if you try and I haven't tried developing for the iPhone, but I've taken a little look at Android, and it is very kind of like, oh, you need this version of the SDK, and you need this, and you need the Java thing, and you need there's like 400 things you got to download. There's like 12 different hoops you got to jump through. It's like you need this exact version. If you have a higher one, it won't work. So you need the prior one, and you got to try and find that one. And it's just like, oh.
That's true. That's also it, and that's not really part of the store.
That was more what I was referring to. Is there's
like
there's no consistency with the things. Whereas with Apple, you have one version of your iOS. It can update, and your app may or may not work with that update. But that's a decision you can make. And it's easily stated, on all your apps, you must have a minimum of X iOS. And
unfortunately, Apple's going to destroy that now that Steve Jobs isn't around by putting out the iPad, the tiny iPad, then the smaller iPhone, and the bigger iPhone, and then the next one, and then they're all going to be out there. You're going to have all these different screen sizes. None of them really work together. Now that you have Android and Apple that are on par with each other.
Yeah.
I have an Android phone. I love it. But that's more probably because it's just not an iPhone.
Okay, so it looks like I read the PR thing. So this Google TV bit, it's not like a sort of a relaunch of Google TV. It looks like an additional service is coming to it that's going to pretty much be on live.
Yeah.
Okay. Thought it was a reboxing of it. Instead, it's just a reboxing of on live, in a sense.
Well, Nvidia also has some. Well, Nvidia. Yeah. Well, let's move over from these consoles that are on the desk and move into stuff that is into your hand here. We have Nvidia, back to them. They're not just talking about this whole game streaming thing, they're also talking about Project Shield. I don't know if you guys saw some of these things with Project Shield, which is basically a controller with a screen on it. And it's going to be another one of those portable gaming devices, another PS Vita, another
The ones that are really
iPhone, or
popular.
whatever it is. What's that?
The ones that are really popular and always do really well.
Of course, all those.
You know what the problem is? I've just realised that nobody is we've mentioned it already in this show, and nobody seems to be thinking about it with all this cloud gaming. Nobody seems to be doing anything about internet connections.
Yes, they are. They're charging more and giving you less.
Well,
That's...
yeah. All right. So they're charging more, but like nobody's doing it. Particularly, I don't know. I've obviously been away from the UK now for about 7 or 8 months, but when I was just leaving, it's like, oh, you get this new service, on live. And then I asked when we were at Eurogamer like 2 years ago. It's like, the on live, and it's like, well, so what are you guys doing about internet connections? And the guy just looked at me and went, "What do you mean?" And I'm like, well, I'm from Wales. I have an 8 meg internet connection. And he's like, oh yeah, and just gave me some PR thing about, yeah, we're testing it on various. It's like, you keep bringing out these cloud things, but nobody seems to be thinking, wait, what if they don't have the internet connection for this?
It's I don't know. It's definitely a double-edged sword. Not even double-edged, because even the people who do have maybe a sort of a semi-solid connection, it can introduce a lot of lag. I know I was a proponent of OnLive up until they sort of crash and burn, but even at its high points, I would get considerable lag, enough to be noticeable, to sort of almost ruin the experience. I know that's not going to be everybody's takeaway from it, but it wasn't perfect, and it never did eventually get perfect. Now, at least not when I stopped using it.
Well, you guys are still talking about streaming, and I'm wondering why.
Well,
because this streaming.
Isn't this device supposed to do just a bit of all that, or no?
A little bit. This thing is going to have its own built-in Tegra chips for a system that can play games right on there using Tegra Zone games. But then it's also going to be, yes, streaming, but it's going to be streaming from your PC, not across the internet.
Okay.
I think that's what they're talking about.
So why wouldn't you just sit there and play the game on your PC?
Yeah, exactly.
Because if you get sent to your bedroom without supper, you can leave your PC running in the living room and still play your game.
It's just like, that's just so stupid. That's like, all right, yeah, I'm just going to stream it. So you have to be in at least the proximity of your PC.
I think so. If not connected to it. I don't know if it really requires a wire. I don't know.
What's the point? You might as well just use your PC.
I don't know. Based on the things I read, this almost seems like it, and I'm just putting this together now. But this almost seems like Nvidia's response to the Wii U. But it's like nobody ever asked for this. It's the controller with a screen. You can sort of, I don't know, duplicate video between a big screen and a smaller screen. You can even stream stuff from your PC to the controller. But I don't know. It looks stupid. It just looks stupid.
Yeah, but apparently, people kind of want this sort of thing, right? Otherwise, why would things such as GameStick on the on Kickstarter? Remember we talked about this last week. GameStick was supposed to be the next thing for having these little games on that you carry around and then watch on your TV, or in this case, carry around and watch in your hands. That doesn't do much other than like practically stream or give you these low quality. OUYA is the other one that we keep getting. I think they all lump into the same thing. Yet people keep throwing money at it.
Yeah, they all do. They all eventually will play the same games, and I don't know.
There's also that thing of like Kickstarter where people just throw money at screenshots.
The answer is simple. People are stupid.
Yeah.
I think before the year's end, we're gonna see whatever true successor or whatever is going to be the most successful of these guys is going to sort of emerge, because it's already becoming too crowded.
I think a year is too short.
You think that's so?
Yeah, because I don't even know if this thing's going to come out this year. I don't know if they mentioned. But the OUYA.
That's the other thing.
Yeah. What?
It's like people are throwing money at this stuff without even knowing when it's if at all it's ever going to come out. It's like, here, take my money. When do I get it? Yeah, we'll get back to you on that.
Right.
We'll send you a nice picture of it right now, though.
Yeah.
And here's the thank you.
We're moving to Rhode Island, by the way.
Okay, so OUYA is out there right now. They're trying to get more people to develop for it, which I don't know why. It's just Android. Just start making Android games. So they're doing this whole game jam, create a game to bait developers in, and they're trying to give away prizes. So actually, though, on the other hand, maybe Ham should be looking at this kind of thing. He likes to be developing these kind of games for the user, these arcade-ish or quick-to-play kind of jump in and go, right?
Yeah, that's my style of things.
This is the perfect place for you to start. Maybe you'll win a prize.
Money, hopefully.
Well, the biggest prize of all is fame and people finding out who you are and then going from there.
That's true. I shouldn't think small. Forget the money.
Yes, and then GameStick. GameStick had their issues this past week where they were on them online, and they within a couple days they reached their goal, and then they were pulled out for an IP dispute. Now they're back on again. So if you were thinking that if you gave them a whole bunch of money and then they took it from you because they actually got funded and then they got pulled off of Kickstarter, don't worry, they're back on, which opens up the door to new possibilities on Kickstarter. I like Kickstarter, but it's got flaws. Huh?
Single thing on.
Yes,
so,
I've gotten my partner's gotten the OUYA. I've seen it. I've had my hands on it.
Unimpressed.
Thing so far.
That's it.
I don't know. I didn't plug it in. It's just this clear box with parts in it.
There were these things, I want to say late 90s, early 2000s, these handheld things, and you would read it and it'd say 200 games in one, and it'd be like a little weird LCD thing. You know what I'm talking about? But it was like all the same.
20 different forms of Tetris on it.
Yes. Yeah. These things just, they remind me of the next generation of those.
That's actually good, yeah. That's pretty much what it is, isn't it? It's just kind of like, and those things were shit. It was just like, here's 500 games in one, and it'd be like 20 versions of Tetris, 8 versions of Pong, and the only difference was the color was different on each one. It was just like the buggiest games you've ever played in your life.
Yeah. We may be approaching that again.
Yeah. I suppose the difference is at least those were cheap.
Razer Razer had their showing also over at CES. They showed off their what was once the Project Fiona. If you ever tried to get in on that thing with Facebook and sign their petition to see if they're actually going to make this thing, I don't know. But now it's the Razer's Edge. You know what I didn't realize about this? It's really a special case for a tablet is all it is. They're making the tablet, they're making the special case, and you give them $1,000, and there it is. It's two separate pieces. So you're carrying around a tablet, and you're carrying around a joystick controller for it.
When we saw the first pictures, I think they were attached. I think people can probably complain enough where they saw it was stupid.
Maybe.
Because it's less stupid if you can take it apart.
Yeah. I saw a few different pictures somewhere where they just showed all different form factors. You can put in, like a keyboard could be attached to it, so it can be like a laptop. And it can be like one of these, I don't know what you would call that thing. Looks like a jetpack. Where you can just hold it without that.
Looks like one of those giant-ass underwater cameras.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
So, $1,000.
And again, like $1,000. It's like
base
for
unit.
600, I could build an i7 PC if we're going off the i5 that you just posted. Yeah.
1.7 gigahertz Core i5. Yes, and you could probably build that for $600.
You get 600, 700 around there. You could get dual. You could probably put like two GTX 560s in there or something.
So
This is like the Atom processor, isn't it? The I don't know.
What they showed is, at least from that screenshot, it should be able to run 3D games and sort of modern games.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like, I guess, a Surface Pro almost, like a weird
So
Microsoft Surface Pro.
now instead of just carrying around this, you'll be carrying around, what is it? This. Okay. Gotta play my game on the bus and
Yeah.
watch out. Sorry, my elbows, I know.
How heavy is it?
I don't know.
That's
I don't
what I
know. That's a
want
good
to know.
question.
It's got a big brick in the back of it so that it keeps it balanced for you.
It's-
They're trying to
It's a
fight
10.
obesity in America is what they're doing. So you have to have your arms out here. Hold this pencil straight
A
out.
load of fat kids with really hench arms.
Yes.
Like,
like Popeye arms.
yeah.
It's a 10-inch screen. I don't know.
I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I feel like we're in some sort of weird technology transition period where people aren't quite sure about what they want. At least the companies aren't sure about what people want, and so they're just trying to do everything, and hopefully one is going to last.
And I blame the consumer because we
Yeah,
keep buying this shit that they keep putting out. Everybody keeps jumping on these virtual bandwagons of this crap. Wait until something decent comes out before spending your money on it. Don't just buy it because it's new.
Yeah. One more.
Like Foyle's already
Shiny.
pre-ordered this thing. That's
Not
how
telling.
bad this is.
Here, one more. This picture that I'm showing you here isn't Project Fiona, the Razer or whatever the hell it is, the Razer Edge. This is Wikipad. It's another tablet inside of a controller.
Christ.
Yeah. Another one.
Yeah. So everyone's copying each other without sort of even having proven that this is something that consumers will want.
They've all hit the wall.
Yeah.
They've all hit this
It's
wall and
almost as if
thought,
people have stopped thinking.
yeah. And that's what happens when people play console games. They stop thinking. I'm not making that up. You got people playing console games. It's the decline of American civilization. It's the decline of Western civilization because people keep playing these console games. They get stupider by the generation. And they, by being stupider, have less creativity, less ingenuity, and therefore the next generation gets stupider by 10 times the value because that's the most that they know.
So what
I
you're
can't
telling
take
me?
the side off. Well, yeah, we're going back to throwing poo here, and in another 5 generations, we're back to poo throwing.
Still be better than most of the Xbox games.
So
Which
after
will be better than most of the Xbox games available today. It'll be Call of Poopy.
It already is, yeah.
and that means that this next generation of consoles, we're actually going to have a press X to win games. Like that's going to be it.
It's not even next gen. There are already games that press the X button to win.
You win by turning it on. Send in your credit card now, and we'll let you win by this game on.
It's like, or just put in your credit card details to win.
We promise you won't have to do anything. We will even turn your game on for you.
Well, that's what's getting with all the like these games with like quick time events and like it's getting to the point where it's just like you're just watching a movie now. It's like I'll just put the control down and you take care of this. I'll just sit back here and watch. Wow, this would be fun if I could play it.
Yeah.
I just want the console. You put your card in. You got to pay by the minute to play.
Yeah.
That's the one I'm waiting.
Don't give people ideas.
That's what's happening right away,
I'm
probably.
afraid your bank account is empty. Fill it up to play again.
The virtual arcade. Yeah.
But I haven't been to work in 6 months.
I'm only 13. How am I supposed to pay for this?
How do I have a credit card in the first place?
I know.
We signed you up for that, dude.
I'll sell my parents' cell phones.
Yeah.
Microsoft will give you a credit card with a huge interest
It'll be
rate.
Yeah.
Comes in the box.
MXBC card.
Comes in a box. Already signed out and signed in your name. How did they know it's my name? We've been watching.
Yes.
First month is interest free, interest free, and the rest are 60%, right?
Yeah. Exactly, Red Troll. Insert a quarter in your TV now.
Yeah.
Have you been to an arcade lately? There ain't no quarter games. Drop in $1.50 to play or $2 to play. This is pinball for fuck's sakes.
In the 90s, that was true too. With the now we're going back. With your favorite game, Lancer's Edge or whatever that was. Okay, moving on. Moving on to Oculus. Oculus Rift is going on, talking about how they're still working on the device, and everybody who was hoping to get one probably won't be getting one for a long time. They don't say that, but how else can you explain the idea that they listened to people and they decided to make some major modifications and it's now not ready for press viewing?
Did they figure out that people were throwing up?
Is that what happened?
I don't know. I'm just kind of making that up. But
they threw up all the old prototypes.
They've got the barf bag attachment under the. It's like a feed bag they stick on horses.
We joke, but yet all three of us felt like physically sick after playing that.
Right. You know I have a problem, but I don't know about these guys.
No, not normally.
I think I was still on Dramamine when I was using that thing. I was still sick.
Now, the Oculus was at CES.
Yeah.
It got a lot of positive buzz from a few different outlets. In fact,
But no one could
TheVerge.com.
watch it. No one could turn it on and put it on their heads.
These
They weren't
guys
allowing it.
made it best of the show. The Oculus Rift.
I don't know. I kind of regret having given them my money now.
It was neat. It's a gimmick, but it's neat. I can see how it would be good in certain games, but not in others. I didn't like it in Doom. But I could see how it would be fantastic in a game like a
racing game or something.
Like which?
Like a racing game. You're in.
Well, a racing game or what was the
mech game?
The Mech Warrior one that we were playing. Hawken. Where you can look around inside your cockpit, yet you're controlling your mech, or actually any other game where you're inside of a control cockpit, you can look around inside the cockpit, yet your controls are still doing what you're telling it to. A tank battle, that kind of game. As far as using it as your main controller, your main aiming thing, I don't think that's. I
think that was out of all of it. That's what made me feel ill, was the fact that you were detached from your body. Like if you had a rifle in real life, you turn with the rifle, whereas you're turning your head to aim, and it was like opposite of what you.
Weird.
Yeah, it was weird.
Well, we'll find
I'm
out
still
what
going to stick
happens.
my claim.
They're supposedly still shipping the dev kits, according to Epic now, with a UDK in March. which means I'm supposed to be getting one in March, and I'll tell you, and you'll be able to watch me throw up here on the show.
That's after you glue and tape it together.
That's right.
Based on my limited experience, I still got to say I think if market it right, if the price is reasonable, it's going to be a huge hit. I'm going to call it. I'm going to go out on a limb.
What is a reasonable price? Is $350 reasonable?
300 is reasonable. 300 is 300 and less. It's reasonable.
Because remember, it's just like a joystick. It's a fancy joystick.
That's the problem. Right now, it's a fancy joystick that is being forced into something that it wasn't meant to be in. So your quality of game has to be developed for the Oculus, or else it's not going to work. It's going to feel unnatural. Agreed.
Speaking of being forced into a game, there's a third-party driver that's going to come out for the Oculus Rift. This is a separate company. I don't know how to pronounce them. It's Vireo maybe. And these guys promise support for the Oculus Rift for games like Mirror's Edge and Skyrim and a couple more. Let me get the little link.
And I don't see it working for Skyrim.
Because they just weren't built with it in mind. So it's not like EA is going to build and support for it. It's another company saying, hey, we're gonna make these games work well with the Oculus Rift.
Yeah, send us money for this. Basically, the interface. All they're doing is they're looking at the interface for each of these games and saying, all right, let's make this run through the Oculus.
But like that to me is kind of like the thing with 3D movies. Is you have some 3D movies that are just made as regular movies and then put into 3D. And then there are movies that are actually filmed in that like with the special cameras that are for 3D, and you could tell the difference. You know, and like that to me seems very much like, oh yeah, you'll have some games that will incorporate it really well, and then you'll have other games that are just like forcing you to use it. Like, it's
an ultimate gimmick.
Yeah.
Because anyone who gets this for Skyrim is going to use it to get in there and look around the world and be like, wow, I'm inside the world, and then turn it off.
Yeah. and it's not going to be any different than being, wow, I'm inside the world, but I'm using a controller instead. Or, wow, I'm inside the world and I'm using a keyboard and mouse instead. Because it's not doing anything other than changing your perspective of how you control that game. You're still looking at the exact same thing.
Yep. That sucks.
I think it'd be, to start off with, to take things slow, any sort of simulation game like Hawken, where you sort of you're within a different vehicle and you're sort of viewing the cockpit. I don't know, flight sims, racing sims, mech sims.
That's the only place I can see where this has any kind of viability is like simulation games and like say Hawken, and because like playing Doom on that was actually pretty horrible. For the most reason, like I've said this before, it was the thing of like you were looking this way, but in the game you were walking forward. So I'm looking this way, but I know physically that I'm facing the other, and it just made you want to throw up.
That's weird.
It's like I was walking. It's like I'm walking like some sort of crab, like this way. But you're not actually moving, was then the jarring thing, because you're sitting down. It's like just because I got this thing on my head doesn't instantly destroy my entire nervous system, and I can't move anymore and can't feel where I'm sitting. It's just, I don't know.
I think it'll work out. It just needs some time. I'm trying to be optimistic. I'm hoping it'll work out because I think it represents the potential for some great things. Stuff, yes.
Great stuff.
Because you saw it at QuakeCon, that's why. I understand. It's okay.
that's exactly why.
All right. Another piece of hardware, which isn't necessarily game related, but leads into game related stuff. There's the more robotics coming on from Lego Mindstorms, in case you like your robots and programming and doing that kind of stuff.
Lego.
$350 for your own kind of construction kit here. And what's interesting though is that it comes bundled with some sort of app that goes into Autodesk, so that you can see the build process from the inside. I don't know what's going to be tied into Autodesk here, which is, by the way, 3D Max or something like that. Or Maya? I don't know.
Autodesk is AutoCAD. They're the
They produce the product.
3D modeling, 2D modeling. Yeah. They do 3ds Max. They do Autodesk actually has a whole game development platform. Yeah, every 12-year-old kid has a copy of Autodesk. Autodesk what?
That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, who's this aimed at? Because I don't know, for the money you would need for that. I mean, no kid has it.
I paid $7,000 for my copy of CAD. Like, what the fuck? You know what I want for Christmas, Dad? You know what I want for Christmas?
AutoCAD.
I tell you what, that's the combat for my previous statement about generations getting stupider. We're gonna have a whole nation full of like Asian kids that are good at math, like the whole generation's just gonna be. It's gonna be naturally assumed that you can model in 3D because, well, you have Lego, didn't you? Yeah. Well, then you had Autodesk. Like, fuck. Back in my day when I built Lego, I had to make sure that it fit by looking at it. Now you can just model it. No, that's not going to fit. Call an architect. Who was the Lego engineer on this product? Get that yellow-headed motherfucker over here now. I'm going to pull his fucking arms off.
Yeah.
Lego has changed, my friends.
Lego's also getting ready. Lego's getting ready for another game, and they're going to do the whole Marvel superheroes game. I don't know how they're going to tie it all together yet, but
what happened to the Marvel superheroes game that we played that wasn't Lego?
They're still working on that, I think.
So they like, let's put that on the shelf and see if Lego can boost our.
No, because they've always been doing stuff for Lego, Marvel. Not always, but it's
like this.
It's been a while. They've been putting out Lego Marvel kits for a long time.
I guess, mind you, this is to tie into the movie, though.
The
Avengers
movie. Oh yeah, probably.
This is the previous Lego superhero games have been DC based, I believe. I think it will.
Yeah.
They've only been two, I think. Yeah, Batman and Batman 2 DC superheroes.
Well, yeah. So, now we got a Marvel, and not just the ones you see here, but also, or is Wolverine even in there? I don't think so.
No, Wolverine wasn't part of it.
Isn't he Ollie on the right? Is that?
Yeah, that's Wolverine on the right.
That's him on the right. All right.
Was he in that movie?
No,
he's not in the Avengers now.
Black Widow. Well, I don't know if he. I think he.
There was 6 of them in there, so Black Widow was in there. What the fuck is Wolverine doing in there?
Well, because he's
Get
Marvel.
the fuck out of there, Wolverine.
well, but then they've got a Wolverine movie coming out soon.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to continue on from the last X-Men movie.
There's a proof
which
that
was so good.
X-Men movies.
All right. Other hardware. We have Samsung doing their 55-inch OLED 3D HD TV, and what's interesting about this thing is that it's one TV with multiple views. In other words, that's why this picture that you see looks all scrambled up. Depending on where you're sitting is depending on what you see. Now, we've heard about technology like this, but what I can't understand is, what are you listening to?
Yeah.
Does everybody in the house have headset on?
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Well, you got to wear glasses, don't you? So maybe this got speakers built into them.
Or is it for things like where everybody sees the same scene but from just different angles, so it doesn't matter about the audio because
it doesn't look like that.
No, you can watch 2 different channels.
Oh, really? Because that's what that picture looks like. It's like there's just people, and you can, if you sit the right side, you can see from this angle. If you sit from the left,
I know. Watch TV alone. How about that?
Too many Americans are doing that right now.
Yeah.
But you can help. For just $2 a day.
You can rent a
You
friend.
can be a hoe.
Now, I'm not sure if Sony followed through with it, but I know there was some talk with, I think, maybe a Killzone or I forgot the other game title. But there was a game where they thought maybe you could sit on opposite ends of a couch and play split screen that way, where you still have access to the entire screen because your view changes.
You can watch sports.
I think it's got a lot of potential for multiplayer. Split screen.
So
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
Resistance or something. No, that's
I
the
do
name
like
of
that better than split screen. Because split screen always hurts my neck because I'm always trying to look around the split.
it.
Yeah, but if you're not just sitting in that perfect sweet spot, you don't get to watch what you're watching. You watch something else, and someone nudges you out of the way because they know you're going to kill them.
Yeah.
You lose sight. Motherfucker!
See, I thought it all worked on glasses that sort of filtered out what you saw.
I think you might be right. It might work on glasses. So that it's going to be a high refresh rate, just like 3D, and the glasses will be tuned to the certain refresh rate.
Yeesh.
I'm most interested not in the 3D aspect, but that it's a 55-inch OLED screen. For people unfamiliar, OLED is beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
Organic LED.
Yep, it's got extremely high refresh rates. I think close to that of CRTs. I could be wrong.
Contrast level is off the wolf's charts.
Yeah. So this is sort of, at the moment, this is the pinnacle of what you want as far as televisions go. But for the last few years, they've only been available in like small screens and phones and things.
You're gonna pay for it.
Yeah, is there a price tag on this?
No, but I think they had some OLED TVs at the show that were running between 5 and 50,000 or something like that.
That's a pretty broad spectrum.
It's like
Between 5 and 50,000.
I think there was
somewhere
one
in
for
the middle.
100,000, but that was like a super large, big TV.
China will be pumping them up for 5,000 of them for
$10.
$20 each. $10 plus GST is nothing free.
Well, in the gaming world, what you won't be doing on these TVs is watching the Call of Duty movie because Activision. Is it Activision?
I won't be watching that on any.
Yeah, I would watch it anyway.
Damn shame.
Well, you know what I think is funny about this is Kodak from Activision says movies based on video games rarely pleases devoted fans, and they will taint the brand.
What the fuck? Somebody is got their hand up his ass, and they're moving his mouth because, like 6 months ago, didn't he say, "This is the greatest idea since sliced bread. We are going to make a Call of Duty movie with all these cutscenes and charge people for it, and people will pay it because they're stupid sheep."
Yeah, $20 for cutscenes on a disc.
Yeah, that like the idea was actually tossed around. That's insanity. And there was already a Call of Duty movie. I think it was Act of Valor, is what they called it.
No,
Wasn't it Band of Brothers?
no, Band of Brothers is completely different. That's actually good.
Right.
Yeah, but that's what. Yeah.
I think Act of Valor, in so much to like their effort to appeal to Call of Duty players was so much so that there were a few scenes shot in first person, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't seen the entire movie, but I believe there's some first person scenes in Act of Valor.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Yeah. It was cool because they used it was like the hook for that movie was it's real U.S. Special Forces guys in it, and then you're like, oh cool, it's gonna be, and then you realize, wait, they're not actors, which means they can't act, so the acting is shit.
Yeah. Okay. Penny Arcade Expo Australia is doing well. They had to expand the conference because so many people are interested. Good for them. This is a fun conference. We go to Seattle, to the Seattle one. You want to check us out? Go to Seattle. There's also one in Boston that's been going on, PAX East, that's been doing very well and growing every year. It's supposed to be really good this year. I wish I could get out there. Yeah.
Rumor has it that PAX Prime this year is going to be 4 days instead of 3.
That's right. An extra day. Prime being the one in Seattle, the one that we go to. Because it's the first. Yeah, so an extra day because it's that big. Hopefully, though, it's also filled with quality and not just quantity.
That's a whole day of more free shit.
What it boils down to is that, and you know, if you go to these conferences as press and you try and see everything and interview everybody, you end up with unfortunately, you end up with no time to actually enjoy
that was
anything.
the one thing. That was one thing I noticed, because we were just running back and forth pretty much for the 3 days. It was like, oh, now we got to do this interview in 3 minutes to get over the other side of the conference center. It's like, right, okay, let's go, and we'd run over that way, and then it was like, yeah, I'd kind of like to just had one day where I had like a standard person badge.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because like, even when you didn't have interviews, you still had a press badge on, so people would stop you and go, "Oh yeah, check out." Oh.
Hey, yeah, you want to take a look at this? And
But I like that. That's
I like that too.
something
But it's
about
like,
that.
yeah. But then I'd have kind of liked as well just to have a normal badge and then just go one day and just wander about.
We often have plenty of badges for that.
It also didn't help that we were walking around in Half-Life 3 shirts, but
we wouldn't do that, would we?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I'm sorry, I can't talk about that. Anyways, moving on.
Moving on.
PAX, it's fun.
Everybody go to PAX.
Let's see. I think
Yeah,
I want
Breesy.
to jump down to these extra topics that we have here. The government. Yes, the government is not going to be building the U.S. government is not going to be building the Death Star. The Death Star. There was a petition out there to get the U.S. government to build the Death Star. Yes, from Star Wars. And supposedly they have to seriously consider it if there's 20,000 signatures.
Yeah, whatever there was.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
and they got it.
Oh,
They had to address it, and there was 2 reasons cited, and one was the estimated $850 trillion cost, and the other one, I like the Barack Obama tweet. Why would we spend taxpayer dollars on a Death Star with a fundamental flaw that can be exploited by a one-man starship? Fucking love that. This isn't the petition response you were looking for.
I like the perhaps most crucially, Shawcross points out that the administration does not support blowing up planets yet.
So there goes your hopes dashed.
I was hoping I could maybe work on the Death Star, serve coffee.
Serve coffee.
Why don't they put this on Kickstarter now?
Yeah.
Yeah, do it after the show, surely.
We're trying to raise $850 billion.
And if you give money, you get like a Death Star keychain and a hat.
A free tour of the Death Star once it's operational.
Just stay away from Alderaan. I won't tell you what we're gonna do, but it's
gonna be big.
It's gonna be big. That's no moon. It's gonna be big.
Wow.
Oh, Tor's fat.
That would be a
Tor's must be in decline.
Good Kickstarter. Okay, and now the next one here is that there is out there you can take a look at the Half-Life Alpha version. Yes, Half-Life 1 alpha version and see how it evolved. How Half-Life, well, you see, I did see this article earlier, and I was thinking to myself, well, if you look at the original Half-Life, the one that was actually released, you're going to look at that and think that is an alpha version. So unless you go back and play that, it's going to be hard for you to really feel the differences of how the game evolved, because there's no more wow factor to the game. It's just like, okay, yeah, this is an old game, and there's a couple polygons on the screen.
It's like from the mid-'90s or something, right?
Yeah, it's
20-year-old technology.
Definitely old.
Mm-hmm. So
it's older than Breesy.
It's hard to understand the progression that went on. It's older than Breesy. But still, if you're old enough to remember the game and appreciate the first game, you might want to, you can take a look at the video or actually download the alpha version and take a look at what it was like beforehand. That's why one of the things I like about Steam and or Valve and some of the games they put out, when they put in the comments, So if you have Steam and you're watching this, there's often a version of the game that has commentary by the developers, and you can listen to things as they went along. I really, really enjoyed that with Portal, for instance. When the first Portal came out, they went on and talked about how the game was developed and how they couldn't just jump right into the game. They had to create this really elaborate tutorial that didn't feel like a tutorial, that felt like the game, so that you could learn the game as you progressed without them saying, to do this, and do that, and click over here to open that, and not. No, you just learned, and the game became intuitive.
Yeah. Speaking of Half-Life and the alpha of the original, recently, I think maybe a day or two ago, posted on what's this valvetime.net, there are images of Half-Life 2 one. Episode 4.
Oh, yes.
Episode 4, yeah. Supposedly, and I'm not sure if this is confirmed or not, but supposedly Valve talked to Arcane Studios, and Arcane was supposed to go ahead and make episode 4. But as I guess as things grew lengthy with episode 3, then it got scrapped. But there's some images of what would have been Windows 8. Really, oh, God.
There you go. There's a sound clip for you. Windows 8. Really?
I don't know. God, Windows 8. But there are some images of just a few stills from what's supposed to be early work on episode 4. So, but that'll never happen.
Anything else you want to bring up as we close up? Is that it?
So, go ahead, Welshy.
Ham's
Oh
afterthoughts.
no, I had nothing. I was just.
Oh.
Ham's growing a beard.
I'll be back with the Lincoln next week. And TERA, TERA, the MMO, has gone free to play, or
yes,
is officially. And I think
worldwide,
next month officially.
Not just in a country or two, but worldwide.
Yeah, and for people who don't know, TERA was the MMO that tried to do combat a little bit differently, where your aim actually matters, and
you can jump away from block and escape from hits.
Yeah, so
I liked it. I liked that game.
Yeah,
you played as the rabbit or something.
I had a couple characters in there. Yes, I played as a little
Chihuahua
chick,
or a dog.
a little chick with rabbit ears and stuff.
That's
once,
right.
And then the other one, you could be like a hamster or something like that, or you can actually be more realistic.
Look,
sorry, I don't know.
They've got two classes. One where it's like you can only be a girl with bunny ears or something, or like animal ears and a tail, and then there's a one where you can be like a panda or
of course
a
you do. Of course you do.
I really enjoyed this game. I know you guys weren't interested in downloading and getting it, but I did play through it. I played through all the way with one character, pretty much all the way, and then I started up another one. It's a good game.
I think the questing was kind of boring, at least it is so far, but the action is nice.
Well, it depends on how much you played, too, because it seemed like the first, what am I going to say, 20 hours was a tutorial. Pretty much, it was the easy part, and then you move on to the other world where things become much more complex.
Oh, okay. I'm still giving it a few minutes per day.
Yeah, we should bring up Ham's mail. We got viewer mail.
Oh yeah.
Message.
Do we?
You've got mail.
Yeah.
Jono sent in a helpful suggestion to Ham.
Yeah.
And,
thank you very much. now Windows 8.
Oh, the Windows 8 thing. I forgot about that.
Yeah. Use Classic Shell to restore some abilities that were taken away when you upgrade it. Which is just silly.
Yeah.
So if you were to use Windows Media Player on Windows 7 and then you upgrade to Windows 8 Pro, you lose the ability to play DVDs, like out of the box. which I mean, granted, you can use different players, but that's just it's weird. It's weird and stupid. You lose features as you upgrade, and but that's the feature according to Microsoft. So, good thing Jano pointed out the classic shell, because that actually makes Windows 8 somewhat usable.
Again, my point where if you have to keep adding all these things to Windows 8 to make it so that it's usable and feasible, they should have either been included as part of this operating system or don't buy it. Again, you're jumping on a bandwagon. Bah, bah, bah.
It should be subtitled like Windows 8 DLC edition, you know, and
that's the market they're looking for. What else can we charge them for? You want this? It's going to cost you. No, you got Windows 8. You got exactly what we said. It's a piece of shit. You want it to be able to do. You want it to work. Oh, my friend. Have I got a story for you? Come here. Come to this corner of the store. We will, for you today only, because I like you, $200, and you get all. Oh, you don't want $200. No. Well, then I can't help you, my friend. I'm sorry.
It's awful. Buy Windows 7, skip 8. Okay.
What's the next one going to be called?
9.
Windows based stuff.
Windows money.
They went from dates to numbers. Well, they went from dates to names to numbers. Colors.
Oh, yeah. Colors. Windows 8 Blue is, I think, summer of this year.
Yeah, it's going to blue
banana.
Fruit, yeah.
I'm surprised Steve Jobs didn't build the Death Star. Honestly, I am surprised that Steve Jobs didn't build a Death Star.
The Eye Star.
Started it. He may have started
the Eye Star. Exactly.
All right, I'm going to wrap the show up. We're really trailing off here. I'm going to say thank you to our hosts for taking the time out today to chat with me. Welshy, thank you very much for joining us.
No problem.
All right, Ham, thank you very much for joining us.
You're very welcome, good sir.
Breezy, thanks for joining us today.
No problem.
And Stryder, thank you very much for joining us.
It's always a pleasure.
It's something. So, finally, I want to thank you, the fans of MODSonair.com and the subscribing members of MODSonline.com, because that's why we're able to be online. All right. Have a great week. Adios.
Thanks for watching this week, and come back next Sunday at 12 p.m. Eastern when we will broadcast another live show on Livestream. Details for this and all past episodes can be found at MODSonair.com. We welcome your feedback via email at mailbag@MODSonair.com, and please consider subscribing to MODSonline.com to support our show. The opinions expressed by individuals on this program are not necessarily the opinions of our sponsors, owners, or partners.
I know I've felt this way after staying up all night playing games.
Hey!
Hey.
Haven't seen you in a while. How you been?
Oh, well, you know, I'd love to talk. I'm late for a business meeting. For a business thing.
He got in the car and then when he got in his bag was gone. Continuity error. That was back.
Why would you run from that mate?
I don't know.
Mate, you better be a Golf driver, let me tell you that. Bro, what have you done? I just got that clean the other day. Come out here and talk to me. Right, I'm gonna break every single bone in your face. Come here. You're about to get fucked. Your face about to get mashed up, bro. Oh, a headbutt. Who does that? I do that. Okay, I give up.
Are they saying something about gamers?
I don't know what's happening.
Oh, it's all about leveling up. And achievements. Everything's an achievement.
Yeah. Is there like some sort of subtle context here that we have like pop-ups everywhere?
You guys don't get that?
What up?
Not normally.
Seriously though, I'm late for that meeting. Oh. Ow.
This is...
Yeah.
That is... You know, we stopped a show that was quality for that. Just so you all...